we actually joked this morning, here like Helen and Tracy, on our backgrounds. Because our backgrounds, maybe when we did our educations back then, had no prediction for us standing here. So we have a musician, we have one who studied law, we have you have told us on your military background, and I am a mathematician and statistician. Right. It was so difficult to say, so I needed to change to HR. Two letters, much easier. Yes, I've been here at Nordea for 29 years, which, I label myself as a dinosaur. I like dinosaurs. I'm not a cat. We apparently are into animals today here. And when I started, I was the first academic in the personaleafdeling, as it of course was called in those days. And we started out, as you say, Christina, we started out the HR partnering concept in 1997. So, and I did the first pilot together with one of my colleagues. So we were the two academics that were sent out on the journey on this HR partner thing. It's new, it's great, and Unibank, as we were called in those days. People are nodding, they can remember the old card maybe, or what we had in those days. In Unibank, we were quite front runners, and we've been quite proud of that. And so have I. And it is a fantastic job. That's why we are all in it, right? And I've actually been in that job since 1997. So I will not take the full history from there, because I'll actually jump to 2015. We were, exactly as Christina says, the original HR partner as we had it was the generalist, the jack of all trades, who did everything, who longed desperately for working strategically. That was top of all the questions. What would you really like to work with? I want to work with big strategic themes. Bottom line was that when you then needed to do the recruitments, the trainings, then coaching was new. Then we did all coaching training. Then mindfulness was hot. Then some did mindfulness. Then we were kind of flying from top to top. And then we had the leaders who needed help. And then we helped our leaders. We were very servant to our leaders, which means that we also had quite many HR partners at those times. We did not really talk about a standardized approach. So a leader who shifted from one area to another area would experience, this is how I need a recruitment. And then the HR partner came and said, yes, now I'll do this. And it's like, okay, but the one that I did half a year ago, that was much different. Yeah, but I do it in this way. Okay, and we allowed that because, exactly to the point that Christina made before, we thought at that point, we will do what is right for the business, meaning the local business that I was supporting, meaning that if I was working in Jutland, we did it like that. If I was working on Zealand, we did it like that. And if I worked in the headquarters, we did it in a third way. And then we, by the way, did it in 10 different ways in the headquarters. Very, very, very liked by the leaders, because I get exactly what I think I need. And very, very fun to be a people business partner, an HR partner, because I did exactly what I like to do. And the things that I maybe didn't like that much were put over into the trunk of, I don't really have time for doing that. Because I need to do the leadership course, right? Yeah, okay. When we developed over the years, and when we met in 2015, we started seeing a value in standardizing. And some of us thought, right, standardized, that must mean boring. But standardized does not necessarily mean boring. But maybe some of you think, standardized, I'm not going to go to Nordea because it's standardized. But standardized means much better service for our leaders. They know what they can expect. They know what they get. They also know what they can't ask us for, but need to do maybe themselves. Sometimes we take choices. It's all about taking choices. Back to the strategic workforce plan that we discussed before. We cannot do everything. At least we cannot do everything good. So we can maybe do everything, but then we can do everything really not good. Not really good recruitment, not really good leadership training, not really good, whatever we want. So I'll tell you the story of how we came from what we think is what Christina just talked about, the impactful strategic people business partner. And yes, we have an organization with just around 30,000 people in effectively 6 countries, and then we have a few countries, plus, with only 24 people business partners. Wow. With an organization of 550 people to help us. So we have a talent acquisition unit. We have a leadership support unit with, some would have called it junior HR partners in the old days. It is not. We call them leadership support consultants. They're the consultants who can go in and do the standardized support for the leaders. I need a sick leave discussion with a person. How do we do that? Now we do it in one way. There's one way of cutting that cake. There's one way of working with this, meaning that I, as a leader, if I've done it once, I can expect that the next person who helps me would help me in the same way, with the same framework. But I might not meet the same person to do it. It might be Bente one day, and then it might be Tom the other day. But Bente and Tom, they're trained on the same framework, so they will help you. Yeah, we're different people, so they will maybe put different words into it. They will put their personality into running such a conversation. But the framework, sorry, it's boring, it's standardized, it's the same. That means that working with the unions, do you think it's easier? By far easier. This is how we do it. This is how we agreed we do it, and this is how we do it. So it's not like, oh, you didn't, you forgot to do this in the, and according to Swedish law, this is no, because we know exactly how to do it. And as an HR partner or people business partner, I don't know exactly how to do it. So I can also say, yeah, I would love to help you. I will not help you. But I have a colleague who will help you, and she will be brilliant. Okay, will it be Alice like last time? I don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it will not. But you will be helped in a super professional way. And our surveying on our leadership consultants is super high. Now, our leaders really, really appreciate the interaction with them. Do they still miss that they can just call Alice every time? Yeah, they do. But that is the suck it up. That's not how it works. Our journey, as I said, we started in 15. We had 9 operating countries, and we had 130 local and global HR partners, as we called it. And we said, wow, we want to cut it down. And I must admit that when we started out the discussions, I was also in the people leadership team back then. When we started out the discussions, some dared to say we need to cut it down to 30. And we were, some, myself included, said, are you mad? Not gonna work. That cannot work. And it would probably not have worked with the setup that we had at that time. So we've done some steps. So the first step we did was that we almost halved the population. So we have 75 people business partners. And then what did we do with the rest of the people business partners that, were idle? They had great competences. They actually went in, or they were asked, we had a very good process over 3-4 months, involved them, not with blue and green cards, but we involved them and said, we will have some new roles. We will have people business partner roles. We will have leadership consultant roles. We will also have some special partner roles. That could be in talent partnering, learning partnering, reward partnering. So we actually developed new partner roles. And then you could say, priority 1, 2, 3, I'd love to be an HR business partner. Many said that, but you had to put 3 priorities. And there was no one who did not get one of his 1, 2, or 3 priorities. And we still have leadership consultants from back then who sit in our leadership consultancy, who do a fantastic, great job. and who love their job and who would not like to be people business partners, because it's also about a choice. What do I actually really like in my role? And what could I then be when I took the next step? But realized that we were maybe, you know, when this muscle was trained a little bit, first of all, our leaders, they were like, I don't know really who to call. You know, should I call the reward partner, the talent partner, the learning partner, the people business partner? Suddenly I had 4 or 5 doors into HR. That's too many doors. So we said, okay, in 19, we need to cut it. And I was like, maybe 30 is a good number. Yeah, you get wiser, right? And of course, it's not just, you know, should it be 30 and why should it be? So it's where would we inject the people business partner role? Where does it make sense? So if you think this is a strategic role that works with a strategic leadership team, well, you got the answer. Which of our leadership teams work with strategy, do their own strategy? Even though that we are 30,000 people, it's not so many leadership teams who actually work with their own strategy. Maybe they work with implementing a tactical, you know, on the tactical level, but guess what? Then you don't need a people business partner. So you might be a leader, a part of a leadership team who has a people business partner, and you might have, you know, some of the strategic discussions with him or her, but everything else is actually supported by the leadership support organization. So, so that is actually where we are now with 24 people business partners. I have the pleasure of having some of them here. I support the group functions. So I have seven GLT members, so they are a member of the group leadership team. Christina is one of them, who of course also has a strategic people business partner, that is Camilla sitting here. So we support them on their strategy. So it's legal, compliance, risk. I have the joy of them myself. It's finance, audit, communications, and one more. And we do that 4 people, actually 3.5, because one of our people business partners is also supporting a frontline business area, business banking in Finland. So that is actually, that is the people business partnering support. But I always have to, or you have to think of us as a machine, you know, with 550 people. 100 of them work on workplace management. So they help us having, you know, these fantastic facilities. So we're down to 450. So who work with the HR deliveries. We have our COEs. I spoke with Alison from Lundbeck. Where are you? Oh, should I?
She's online.
She's online. Okay. Hi, Alison. I spoke with Alison this morning. On the COEs, you know, how do you make it work? And is it all, you know, just roses? No, of course it's not roses. We have big challenges. Every organization has big challenges. The HR organization in Group People or in Nordea has also challenges. Of course we have. So what do we think is what are the benefits, and where do we still, you know, need to learn and develop? The strategic benefits is definitely that we have it all aligned. So we have the alignment between the business strategy and the people strategy. Would there be things that a business unit down the line cannot find in our people strategy? Of course. You know, we cannot serve every single unit with everything. So we need to take some bets. Like common infrastructure. One of the inducement moments, which I just skipped, is actually that we are under ECB regulation from 2018. We took the conscious choice, moving our headquarters from Sweden to Finland. Actually, to get under ECB regulation, we wanted it. It was a conscious choice. And it is great being regulated. It is tough being regulated, but it actually also helps you give some structure to what you do. You need to be able to explain basically everything you do. You need to be able to document it. You know, you need to have controls in place. You need to be able to show them the thing when they come and ask you, how do you do this or how do you do that? And at least in Denmark and in Norway and in Finland and in Sweden, we came from a regime where we could talk with the FSAs and said, yeah, we have good plans, and that is not enough for the ECB, neither within good people. So we are under a different regime together with the organization, which is, you can say, to the boring part, yes, this is how we need to do it, and this is how you need to structure, this is how you need to document things. And that might not be, the thing that all the people business partners would love to do. And it's never always the people business partner who needs to do it, but we as an organization need to do this, meaning that there is not many things in our organization that is not structured. There's a clear governance. I think you spoke about accountability. We have a project that is called AIR. Sounds really nice, and that is on accountability. Who in the leadership team owns this? There should not be a process in this bank that not has a clear owner, and that needs to be documented. Again, back to that when somebody comes and asks us, then we actually know, yeah, it's Christina Gadeberg who owns this, and it's under her wings that this needs to be worked out. I go to the lessons learned, because choose the right time. Someone asked me, I think it was our discussion of that, and so what makes the thing break through? What is it that makes the leadership take a decision? What makes the CEO believe that this is actually the right thing to do? I'll support you. In old days, Tobias, and I'll support you, Christina, in that we actually have an organization that goes like this. It takes guts also from the CEO, it takes guts from the board to believe in this. Over these last 4 or 5 years, our board has also changed. It has changed from being a very Nordic-based board to be a very international board. Our chairman is a Brit, Stephen Hester. He asks different questions compared to our former chairman. He actually has asked Christina, so how does the strategic workforce plan look? And she was like, we started working with this for 2 years, so this is how it looks. And he asked questions, and he asked questions, and he asked questions. He was like, yep, we're still working on it, right? So I say, what makes it break through is also that there is, of course, a buy-in. And that there is an understanding that this is right. Because our new board, I would say, they really understand the value of this. They know that they need to ask these questions. They know that we need to have the right people in 5, 10 years. It's not enough to have the plan for next year. Come on. So what's your outlook for in 8 years? And he's like, we have no clue. No, but you need to get a clue, right? So that we have worked with over the last 3 years, the strategic workforce plan. I've longed for implementing this for 15 years. And I was like, finally. Make sure you have the right persons. Make sure that you both choose the right persons who have the strategic outlook and interest, know the numbers, know how to be impactful also by being caring, know who should sit in your COEs, have the specialists, have the best people doing the recruitment, have the best people doing the learning plans, have the best people doing the training, instead of mediocre doing everything of everything, or what you just think is fun. And there are trade-offs. You cannot have the one-to-ones always. You cannot have your personal assistant almost in these cases. Leaders normally hate shifting people business partners. That is the worst thing. I have 7 GLT members. Sometimes I need to tell them that, now Camilla has done her service in this area. She will now start supporting, one of the other areas, or she's maybe getting to a new job, and you will have a new people business partner. It's just like something like the worst thing that you can present them with. But she has my full trust. She knows my organization. She knows me. She knows everything. Is there anything I can do, to keep her? So, no. And you will actually be served even better with a new one. I can, but she's the best. Yes, she's the best, and she was the best for you now. Now there'll come another one, and Lumi, I'll find someone who's really good with you, and in a year you will say that he's the best or she's the best, because that's how it works. If you are a good people business partner, if not, then you're not there in a year, and then we also do the change, because it's very much also on chemistry, and you all know that you can have good chemistry If you had your little blue cards, put up your card. If you ever have experienced bad chemistry, don't need to have the cards up. There's a clear need for having one point of contact on HR matters. And it needs to be very clear to the leaders, where is my entrance door? So we actually went, back in the implementation, we needed to go back to on the strategic level, it's your people business partner. He, she is your entrance door. Of course, you can do the self-service, etc. But there's one way in. And if you are a leader on a lower level, not that that is bad, then your entrance door is people direct. We have chat, we have a chat bot, we have, normal phone calls, you can send an email and you can make a ticket. Beginning is like ticket. I'm not going to fly, no, but we have a ticketing system. So you put in, hey, I have 2 teams, I need to merge them. Can you help me do that? And then within 24, 36 hours, you will have feedback. Hey, this is Tom from Leadership Support in Denmark. When can we meet? I will, lay out the plan for you. And Tom, he knows exactly what he needs to do because and we know how to work with the unions. It's not that it's always easy to do that, but he knows how to do it. We have a game plan. And the leader, he can go in on our intranet and I need to change my organization. This is how I do it. Oh, it's a cross-border. I need to talk with the Nordic unions. Okay. Here's the template that I need to fill in. Oh, that looks long. Can I skip that? Bummer for you. No. Can I do it earlier because the date is the 11th of December? Bummer for you. No. Now, this is how it is. Does it suck sometimes? Yes. But I wanted to do the implementation 1st of December, and I had everything ready. Yeah. But we will not do that. Will he survive if he does it 1st of January? And we have our processes in place. This? Yeah. You spend a little bit. So where do we go from here? What's my time? 10 minutes before questions. Right? So where do we go from here? Well, someone said AI earlier. Digitalization and tech is coming. And we need to have a shift and prepare ourselves for that shift. And we can come to all your B's, because there's definitely something in boosting. There's boosting of our organization. There's boosting of our own skills as people business partners. We need to up our game. Have I been happy that I have studied math and statistics in this role for all the years? Yes. I love it. I love bringing the data. I love reading the data. But I also know that some of my colleagues, they love this, maybe not the right word for them when saying, we have this in an Excel sheet or whatever, right? Or we will do this macro and we will do this, and then you can do a pivot, and then you can, It's just like, and can someone do this for me? And I was the one who just, dived in and, then I maybe disappeared into this. Not good either, right? But HR is a numbers game. So at least knowing how to do an Excel and work with an Excel is a very, very good thing. And Excel is now, like a dinosaur. So how do we work with this in the future? How do we see, I'm so curious and also hearing you, in a point, how do we see that generative AI will help us in the future? Right now, we have at Nordea taken the, I would say, cautious attitude, so we have not opened it up for our employees. Because we are a little bit afraid of people would put in sensitive information, customer data or others, and then it's suddenly out there, and what happens, and let's be a little bit cautious. We do work with it. We have AI specialists and AI hub. We have some who can do it, and of course we can all do it on our private side and work with it. But how do we work with it, and how would this maybe potentially also transform HR? So we've made a small team, in-group people who now work with. How would this actually help us in the future? So we're working with a use case. It's not approved yet, so I cannot say what it is, but working with a use case, we will bring it into our leadership team, see if this is one of the experiments that we will start working with. Will it take away our work? Nah, no. I'm not afraid of that. Will it change our work? Indeed. Indeed. So that we need to hurry on. The increasing regulatory environment comes from all sides. Maybe you saw the very long article yesterday in Jyllandsposten on the new EU regulation on tidsregistrering, time management, and we all like, oh, didn't we leave this back in the 80s, 70s? And it's likely coming back. It's coming back with a different intention. So it's coming back with the workload and the stress. That we actually now register all the hours that we work, and let's see how it will be implemented. It was my first comment in the newspapers in my new role, very far down in the organization, and the most non-comment that I could make was like, yeah, we're interested in following the law, and let's see how this will land, because of course we are part of FA, so we are not going to decide this by ourselves in the main. And I told communication that this should maybe, can't you guide this to the Employers Association? I said, we would really like to give a comment. Okay, but then here's the non-comment, but that is coming. With the right intention, actually, but let's see how it lands, because we actually are quite proud, at least in Nordea, and I think in many of our organizations, that we have a flexible way of working. But maybe it's had a flip, how flexible is it? Does it mean that I just work always? Or where is the flexibility? Does it actually go both ways? Are we fooling ourselves, or what are we, as employers and as employees? And then we have the fragile macroeconomic environment. Christina just alluded to it shortly. I think if we go 5 years back, and thinking about who has worked with HR the last 5 years, almost all of you. So I think we have been a part of one of the biggest learnings maybe we will experience in our whole life, with the corona. That you actually suddenly had something no one had, an idea of what we were in when it started out. No one. I think maybe my CRO at that time, Matthew Elderfield, who was here in Nordea, he said, oh gosh, this is gonna last at least 2 years. And we were all like, nah, let's give it half a year maximum, then we're over. And the sad thing is that he was right. The good thing is that he was right, because he helped our CEO and our group leadership team come through this. Super calm and very diligent. So we have all had this experience. We've all seen, oh my God, we need to send everybody home. And how do we, and do our companies survive? And some companies maybe did not survive. Some companies survived, some did even better, and took the opportunities that there wasn't that. Now we're challenged with getting people back. So because they thought that it was a blast working from home, right? And when we talk about inclusion, I think there are so many dilemmas in that, and maybe we will have that in the panel afterwards, which is how can you be inclusive if you are not having people at work, or is it actually inclusive saying that people should not go with their, dreams and what they think is the right thing? So how do we do this? And we probably have different solutions to it. And yeah, we will see in 4 or 5 years who was hitting it in the right way.
Jump into it. Lotte, what is one of the hardest work challenges you have met within the last 10 years? And what did you focus on that helped you in that process?
Yeah, let me think. What's been the hardest? I think one of the difficult things is when you have an idea and you know it's right, and you can't sell it. So I was in the project lead together with one other good colleague on a career framework. We had drafted the career framework. We thought it was brilliant. We had a month to launch it to the group leadership team. And someone said, maybe you should take a round with some of these leaders. And we did. And they said, thank you, we don't need that. And we had worked for that in a year. And that was really, really difficult. It is so difficult when you have something that you think is right. And you know you're right. And you are right, but there's not a buy-in. So that was also one of our questions. Choose the right time for inducing it. So what did I do? I said, bummer. And then I said, there will probably come a time where it's better and where it's more right. So it's also, letting it go. Saying, I might be right. The organization is not ready for this. And hurrah, hurrah, we introduced it last month for our leaders. And we're opening it up for our employees in 2 weeks' time, our career architecture.
Congratulations.
But the timing was not right. So something with this timing thing. And it is difficult when you have something that you have worked on for quite some time. But you missed one of the things we missed. I missed. One of the number one in the change book. Involve them earlier. They were not on my journey. So that was one of the tough ones.
Thank you. Then the next one, what advice would you give to the HR business partner for driving their role in a more strategic direction?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Talk about the strategic things.
Could you elaborate?
I could. You need to have the organization behind you. So you can have all the strategic ideas and the wishes for working strategically. But if you don't have an organization and setup behind you to actually do that, then you are on a challenging mission. But I would say you can still take some of the strategic tools, as Henrik said this morning, start small. Start small. Start, having the guts to go to your leader, even though that you don't have the whole thing behind you, and asking some of the questions. Use the star. That's a fantastic tool. Maybe don't talk about all the things in the star. Take 3 of the stars, right? It's a bad julestjerne. If didn't make it full, so you just make part of it. These paper Christmas stars that you can make. I'm really, really bad at making them. But start small, but big. So it start small and think big. And this is where I think the challenge can be for many of us. It takes time to think big. It takes time to go out of your, I need to do this, I need to deliver this report, I need to, whatever I need to, and whatever I have in my schedule. So when do you create the space in your calendar to think and reflect? Maybe you do it best. Now we have these small signs, maybe you do it best with talking to someone. Maybe you do it best with your little blue brain. Go to the barn, look at the cat and think about, how would you, Katniss, do this? Cat won't say much, but maybe something will come to you. The mice, because she has taken all the mice out. So that would be my guidance. Or apply for a job as a people business partner in Lotte. Could also do that.
Now you mentioned yourself the strategic workforce plan. You add a bit on that. That is not on there.
No, I was like,
question I'm elaborating with, because you were talking about advice to work more strategic.
Yeah.
And then linking back to also what Henrik was talking about, and now you mentioned it.
Yeah.
How does that actually, how do you make the connection? How do you work with it in practice?
Yeah, so that's again, taking things up and then down to how do you actually work with it in practice. So we have made a strategic workforce plan. We started out 3 years ago, and then we've had some iterations. And it is now, and that is, where the standardization comes in. It's now a yearly process. It's something we're going to do from May to September. Every single year. Some would then do it deeper and some would not do it as deep because some have maybe done it deep dive last year, taking all the resources, done the full mapping, and they are on the right path. And they have not changed the strategy, because strategy is not something we change every year. So they probably, some units just need to revisit. This is where standardization has not really kicked in. So we actually still do it a little bit different in the areas, but we have a core delivery that we all have to deliver on. And then some of the business units actually want to work, as you said before, like deeper with it. No, we want more. We want on every single skill we want it. You know, we have a big Excel sheet because we don't have it in the system yet. Excel is great. And there we simply say, you know, we have these skills now. We need it at this level. The mango is this. This is the delta. This is the move. Is this a shift that this person can do in 1 year, 2 year, 3 year? We will translate that into the people's development plans. That is a little bit still handmade. And everything that is handmade when you have 29,000 people, cumbersome. So we're working on it so that we actually also can work with skills catalog. We have job descriptions, but we don't have the skills catalog in the system. So, but this is like, no, it's not perfect. Can we work with it? Yes, and we do. And in my little team, in the risk organization, 600 people, we take this into our quarterly reviews. So they have all a tactical implementation of the strategic workforce plan. I need to move 6 FTEs from Denmark to Poland. Then you can have your traffic lights, and they have the traffic lights. So there's a RAC score. Is it red? You know, have you moved anybody? No, not yet, because nobody has resigned. Yeah, you know what? You need to make them resign. I'm sorry, and that's the tough one that we need to say. Then you need to make them resign. You need to move the people proactively. So you can build it on hope, or you can build it on actions. And yeah, and luck, of course. You can be lucky that some resign. My bet is it's not the right people that resigned. But that's also a challenge. So that is how we work with the strategic workforce plan. So we have it on group level. Christina, she can bring it to the board, and she can tell them we're working right now. We, you know, for the next 5-8 years, we look at AI skills, we look at technology skills, we look at ESG skills. And that is then induced into the organization. That's induced into our learning organization, who has, you know, we have a, you know, super nice homepage where people can go in and find courses. What we still need is, and that's what I'm working on with some of the group functions, we need to build up curriculums. So what is actually needed? You know, base level, professional level, superior level, and how many do we need that are superior? Do you need them all? No. But you need some. Who is it that should go to the superior level? Do we know them? Yes, we do. Okay, they are the ones that we send to Italy on the 6 million course if they are not 67. Or maybe we don't. And if we don't, Houston, we have a problem. Because we need to have X number of people with superior skills within this area in 2 years. Then we have the whole strategy with all the Bs. And thank you for all the Bs, because I build, buy, borrow, and it's like, oh, just expanding my Bs. Yeah, there's more to come. Fantastic. Yeah.
Good, thank you. Then we have a question here. Have you experienced leadership teams who would not give the HR business partner a seat at the table? And if yes, how did you handle it?
I have had that, yes. And I think to some extent we still have it in some areas. Because you can have a seat at the table, and then you can be there, and then you still don't have a seat at the table, right? You can also have a seat at the table and have a seat at the table and have a say. So I can help you get the seat at the table. You need, as a people business partner, to earn the seat at the table, to earn the trust, and so on. I think we have a pretty good model and a good respect around our people business partners now. Did we have it with the 130 HR business partners? Hell no, not at all. 0. Some have, of course, but that was the majority, the minority who had a seat at the table. So it's also something. I think it's something with. First of all, we have a model now. You know, so our GLT members, they know that their people business partner has a seat in the leadership team. But they also know why, because they get the impact. That's the he or the she who actually helps him or her lead his team. We are, in many cases, we co-lead the team. They take very few decisions on their direct reports without having us closely in the decision. Sometimes they do, and sometimes you say, you did what? But that's and that's the glory thing about it as well. And yeah, maybe it wasn't smart. No, smart it was not. But let's talk about it and avoid that we do this another time. I.e., my CRO, he agreed with one of his direct reports. Yeah, you can work from San Francisco. I was like, for how long time? A couple of weeks, maybe until Christmas. That was in 4 months. I said, no can do. We don't have the setup, we have tax, we have, oh my God, Nordea is not in the business in San Francisco. So that was like, I said, that was probably the most brain dead thing I said yes to. That was your own expression, but yes.
Thank you. Now, how firm are you on the people partner job description? What is in the role and what is not?
I said pretty firm. And then I know that some people, business partners, they do a little bit on the side. Of course they do. Either because the business needs it or because they're really, really good at it. But then they quite often are also caught in that then comes, some of this, very boring yearly wheel thing that takes a week or two to implement because it does so. And it did last year, it does this year, it will do next year. And if you're then trapped in something that was not really, within this, then you have the workload thing. Because of course you will do it, but then you need to do the other stuff in the evening, in the weekends. Then you bother that you have too much to do. I will say we have our plates full. Especially when we work with more than one leadership team, because that's also what we see that the people business partners do. And how can you be a full member of 2 leadership teams? You can't. Then you need to prioritize. When are you with, the audit leadership team, and when are you with the legal leadership team, as Hannah needs to do in my team? Mila needs to sometimes choose when I'm with the finance business leader team, or when am I with the people leadership team, because they sometimes plan their meetings on the same days. Oh, we will do a strategic seminar just after the group leadership team meeting. Great. Is that then in the same location maybe? Nah, mine is in Poland and mine is in Finland. Okay, then we need to look through the agenda and help the people business partner deciding where it is. But when it comes to how we have described the role, what you should do, be pretty firm. And I'm pretty firm with my testimony that Camilla on what, why would you do this now? How does that actually fit in? And, maybe we should actually say no. We're pretty good at saying no. So that is actually how strict we go with the job description.
But even being strict is it sometimes that they participate in certain recruitments?
Yeah, you would participate, of course. If my senior leader is recruiting a leader, I would participate, but I will not run it. I will not run it. Executive talent acquisition will run it. I will not run it. But I will, of course, join an interview or 2 or 3. And I will have the discussion with my senior leader. Does this person fit the block? Or would it be the other person candidate who fits the block? But I will not do the interview. Do the recruitment process. I will maybe do the salary negotiations together with the talent acquisition manager. That might be. But all the administration and huda, I will not do that. But of course, I join the senior recruitments. That would be really, really odd if there was just like, no, here's Bob, right? he's the new head of operational risk. I was like, okay, welcome. Well, I'm the head of the people. Oh, I've not met you before. So that would be really, really odd. So of course I joined senior recruitment, but that is only senior recruitment. So that is just the ones that are reporting into the GLT.
We have time for a final question. Anything you would have done differently if you could turn back time?
How far back? Probably there are regrets, but I'm actually a very, I don't regret much of what I've done. I've done that in the time when I did it with good intentions, with a, always a shitload of energy. And yeah, then you miss these blocks sometimes. Did you really get the CCA project, dear mister? No, you did not. So I don't think I have regrets. When I started in Nordea or in Unibank, I actually thought that I would end up as CPO for Novo Nordisk. That was kind of my, 3 years here, 3 years there, and then I'm there. And I've been 29 years here. With a shift every third year. So there's been either a shift or an injection of a role or an area or responsibility every third, fourth year, which is, one of the fantastic opportunities you have when you are in a mastodont organization as I am in. And we did the mergers. Had it only been Unibank, maybe I would have taken a different path. Now working in a truly international environment, I would never go out. Maybe I would. You can never say never. But there's not been something that has been tempting enough to leave. And of course, I have a network of, I don't know what I know. I don't know everybody because, of course, I don't know 29,000 people, right? But I know a lot. My latest injection is the responsibility for Denmark. Being the chief, the country head of people for Denmark, which I got a month ago. So that was another task. I haven't done that before. I'll be challenged with being in the news, not in the news, but in the newspapers, press, and then it's like, okay. It's like, I'm in a big organization. Christina, do you like this? If I say this, yeah, that's enough. That's pretty neutral. Yeah, okay, I'll be pretty neutral. It's like, oh, really? But that is that's kind of the new tick on my journey.
Good. Thank you very much, Lotte.